recording the whole time?
Who?
You recorded 119 hours, 44 minutes, and 30 seconds.
He said how many?
You recorded 114 minutes. 114 hours.
What day
So
is
you
that?
must turn that thing off on last Wednesday.
Wow. Wonder what that file look like.
Okay, well, let me know when you're ready to go.
Oh, you already had some fun.
If you missed the tax deadline, Javis Tax Service can help. There are certain circumstances that allow for a tax extension without additional fees. We can let you know if you qualify for this service. If you still need to file, we can get the paperwork in quickly and ensure that all fees or penalties are met. It's better to file late taxes than not file at all to avoid garnishments. Use Javis Tax Service to help get your taxes filed quickly and correctly. For more information to set up a free consultation, call Javis Tax Service at 803-851-7112. That's 851-7112.
Did it do the 3, 2, 1 countdown? I don't see it. Hold on. Here we go. Hello, everyone. And welcome to this week's edition of Stop the Silence. So we're about to go live here on the podcast shortly. But do us a favor and go ahead and invite all of your... Okay, let me turn this down. Invite all of your friends and followers to tune in for this week's edition of Stop the Silence. We have an amazing show line coming up. And I'm excited. I'm excited about it. I hope that you guys have had a great weekend and a great start to your week. And we are looking forward to tonight's conversation. Praise the Lord.
And it begins.
Yes.
Stop. To come to an end, cease to happen. Denoting one or more people or things already mentioned or assumed. Silence. Complete absence of sound. Stop the silence. Stop the silence.
And good evening, everyone, and welcome to Stop the Silence. I am Tamika L. Sims, one of your co-hosts. Ebony, the baby jumper Dixon, is at home resting. And so we want to make sure that we send her our prayers and our thoughts and our well wishes. But we are excited for tonight's in-studio guest, Mr. Daryn Murphy. I'm looking forward to our conversation on tonight. So, Daryn, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being a guest this week on Stop the Silence. So why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself, about your business, etc.
Okay. My name is Daryn Murphy. military brat growing up, 3 boys, been here for a long time, and currently operate Visions Made Plain multimedia firm, and co-owner of Freethinkers Radio, and Studio Arts.
Wonderful. So for Visions Made Plain, talk a little bit briefly about the services, the variety of services that you provide.
Gotcha. With Visions Made Plain, we do photography, we do videography, graphic designs, social media marketing, website development, and promotional product planning.
So what you're saying is that if anyone is a new business owner, they need to come see you because you're the man.
Well, I'm not the man, but what we try to present is basically a one-stop shop.
Got it.
So you come in as a startup or as an already established business, but want to rebrand.
Okay.
And you just write one check. You write one check, and we do everything for you. So
people are able to keep you on retainer, or is it a monthly fee?
We have monthly, and we do have retainers too. We have a 3-month, 6-month, and 12-month retainer that whatever works best for the business, we're able to operate in.
Perfect. So before we end the show tonight, we'll ask you to share your website and all that information so that folks can connect with you as they deem necessary. Okay. But tonight we are talking about the Journey Workbook, the roadmap to business success. And I know that you have a partner.
Yes.
So we definitely want to shout out Joy McLaughlin Harris, who was not able to be in the studio with us on tonight.
Hey, Joy, we miss you.
We miss you. I was looking forward to meeting you tonight. You know, you spend so much time connecting with people online that you very rarely make connections in person, so I was looking forward to that. Yeah. So we'll have to catch up another time. But so talk to us a little bit about how you guys came up with the title for your workbook and what sort of led you here.
Okay, so with my business, Visions Made Plain, I do a lot of work with businesses. And so one thing that I realized is that everybody has a lot of passion about their business, about their baby. And and so they'll come to me, get a logo, get a flyer, and then a year, 2 years later, they're not doing the business anymore.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And so what I found out was that a lot of people have this passion burning on the inside of them, but they don't understand business structure. And so I decided, I need to do something to give back to the community. And when I thought about the idea, Joy immediately popped in my head, and I said, Joy, I got this idea. Let me know what you think. She was like, "Oh, this is awesome! Oh, yeah. I can see this, I can see that." And Joy is very, very
see the
animated.
Big picture.
Yes. So basically, me and Joy talked about it, and she was like, "Daryn, this is going to be really, really good." And so we collaborated and put our ideas, because she does a Touch of Joy nonprofit international organization, and with her business, she does a lot of financial literacy and entrepreneur workshop programs. Yeah. So she was seeing the same thing with her people.
Gotcha.
And so which is just kind of our way to kind of give back to people and just break stuff down to where it's easily digestible.
Yeah. Because I think that there are a lot of business gurus out there. There are a lot of branding experts and business coaches and so on, and rightfully so, right? Yes. Everybody has an audience. But sometimes you just need to revisit the basics, right? And that's how I see roadmaps, is revisiting the basics. Sometimes we want to skip steps. But on this here journey to success, like, you cannot skip any steps, right? You can't skip any steps. So that's important. So I want to go back to something else you said before we go to commercial break, and that is you talked about that you two decided to join together and collaborate. Yes. And I believe that collaborations are the way to the future. Was there any hesitation on your end before you kind of saw her in your mind? Did you always know that this would be a collaborative project?
Everything I've ever been a part of has to do with collaboration and unity since the beginning. The way Visions Made Plain is ran, it started off as a management company for visual artists. Okay. So so it was a no-brainer, and like I said, when I was going down the list mentally in my head, automatically Joy popped up in my head, and I knew that it would be something that she would be great at.
So how do if someone is looking to partner with someone, what sort of characteristics should they look for in the other person?
Gotcha. Sometimes people say the opposite attracts.
Okay.
And that was kind of the case with me, because I knew automatically when we did the workbook that we were going to be doing a video podcast.
Oh, love it.
And I don't like to talk. Believe it or not, I'm very, very shy. I have a little crazy.
I don't see that.
I don't see that crazy, at all. But I'm very, very shy, and I knew that if I said nothing on the show, Joy could run the show.
I don't know about you.
But we'll pick up with that when we come back from commercial break.
I never know which race box to check. I know. You're probably saying to yourself,
That's good, see?
it's obvious,
Yeah,
dude.
isn't it
You're
good?
black.
You don't know what I'm firing at you. This is Oprah, honey. We are getting this stuff out. Ask these people, ask these questions. This is important information to know, especially about collaborations, because I'm real hesitant about collaborations. Only because people present one thing, and when it's time to do, there's somebody completely different.
Yeah, and you want to kind of test it out. You want to
society has created a box that limits my full heritage.
Joy, like when I first met her,
I thought race was
I was
real.
starting a nonprofit.
Society told me it was
7
us
years ago.
versus them versus us, and my race must stick together and be strong.
Every step of the way.
But after my DNA results, I asked myself, is race
Okay, yeah.
So
as real as I
like
thought?
A brand new situation.
After all.
Okay.
Now pause.
That's
Before some of
Same
you
with
get upset and
David.
abrasive, let me say this. Racism
That's
is
good.
very real.
And that's good, and I think that's important
You look
because
at
you have
housing,
to have
prison,
that
healthcare, and
relationship, because
education,
at the
not
end
to
of the day,
mention
we're going to be
things
doing business together for the
personally
years.
faced with.
First of all, I got to like
And
you.
it is
Yeah.
clear that
Right?
there's racial
I gotta
discrimination.
like you as a person,
Race,
as a
my
man, or as a
friends,
woman.
is a figment of
I
our
gotta know what
collective
you stand for, and I gotta make sure that
Simply
our
a
two
learned
missions align.
Exactly.
Because if
But
you are
If you
misaligned
take
with the
pride in
partnership,
your
then that can
race,
throw the
I'm not
whole
telling
thing
you to
off.
stop.
Yes.
So,
I'm just saying, do you
Two
really
cannot walk
want to
together
define
unless they
all
agree.
unless, I mean, that's the gospel.
Yes.
this tiny
The Bible.
box?
Same
Would
thing.
you define the sky by a cloud?
Yes.
How about the ocean?
Awesome. Thank
by
you
a
guys so
drop?
much
Maybe
for
a house
tuning
by its
in.
curtains? No. See, there's more to your
I
story.
can't really tell.
And
I'm not
society's
sure.
abridged version.
My Facebook Live
And
has been
just as
kind
we
of
must
messing
never
up. I
judge
can't
a
really
book
see if I'm
by its
missing
cover, we
comments
must
or
never
not.
judge a person by their skin, because
I
when
like
we
the
lose my
off
heritage DNA,
Podcast
we find
conversation.
amazing
Kind of like the
chapters hidden
behind
within.
the.
Each one co-authored by our ancestors. I
behind the
say
scenes,
our
but the
because humankind
off-
is interconnected
whatever.
and
Off air.
intertwined
Yes,
like
off
vines
air,
springing up from the roots of one
exactly.
tree.
But the
One
off-air
family
sort of
tree
conversation
that goes by the
because
name
I think it provides more
humanity.
value.
It does.
Yeah, it provides more value. And that was The Poetry of DNA by Prince E.A. So before we left for commercial break, we were talking about collaborations, and you and I had some conversation offline, and we were expressing the importance of making sure that you and your potential partners' missions align.
Yes. Yeah, it's very, very important that, you guys are both going in the same direction.
Right.
If someone is going east and somebody's going west, that might not work out the way you want it to work out.
Might not
Might
work.
not.
Listen,
You're
we may
right.
never reach the point of agreement to where we're just flying. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Awesome. So let's get into this workbook.
All right.
I'm excited. So we're going to talk about why the roadmap? Why the symbolism of the roadmap?
The symbolism of the roadmap is basically we wanted to take people on a journey. And back in the day, before the iPhone and
I know, right?
technology we have these days, we used to have to go to the rest stop and get a roadmap.
Yeah.
And then you get the roadmap, you read the ledger till you can figure out how to.
I didn't even know roadmaps had a ledger.
Yeah.
See, I don't even know how to read one.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So they have like the symbols on the ledger, and then basically when you look at the map, they have those same symbols, and you can identify them. So we started thinking and realized that you know what, it's pretty dope to have the foundation of the of your business and attach it to a roadmap. And so basically the ledger is your mission, your vision. Got it. Without those two things, you can't navigate in the map well.
I love it.
Oh, yeah.
See that play on words? Creative people. I love it. So we're going to introduce Exit 3. Side note, if you have not purchased your copy of the book, we'll share with you before the end of the podcast how you can do that. Yes. But we're talking about Exit 3, and that is putting in the address to your destination. This particular exit talks about your elevator pitch, right? Yes. So why don't you define for our listeners what an elevator pitch is?
Well, elevator pitch, I call them the 3 C's.
Okay.
It has to be clear.
Yes.
It has to be concise.
Okay.
And it has to be compelling.
All right. So repeat it one more time for the people in the back of the room.
All right. For people in the back of the room, it has to be clear.
Yes.
It has to be concise, and it has to be compelling.
Perfect.
And basically what it is the elevator pitch is, I give the example of, somebody, you get on the elevator, man walks into the elevator with you. He has a suitcase of $1 million. He says, I'm going to invest in somebody's business today. You're in the elevator. It's just you and him. What are you going to
Honey,
say?
I'm getting $1 million plus.
What I know, right?
I'm getting $1 million plus. Like, I'm not going to let you leave without telling you all my business ideas.
Yes. But see, a lot of times with the elevator, you only have about 60 seconds before you get to the next floor.
Exactly.
So you have to be able to declare your message clear, concise,
and in a compelling
way.
I love it. So give an example of a perfectly created or crafted elevator pitch.
Ooh.
I'm just saying. Or give me yours. Give me, if I was doing business with you, give me your business's elevator pitch.
Gotcha.
And let's see if I'll give you my $1 million suitcase.
Okay. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. My name is Daryn Murphy.
I'm Tamika Sims. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Tamika. I heard that you're in business.
I am. I've actually been doing some investments into some smaller businesses, and I'm interested to learn about yours.
Okay, well, that's awesome. With my business, I actually own a multimedia firm. It's called Visions Made Plain. And what we do, we actually offer multimedia services. So we do photography, video, graphics, website, social media marketing, and promotion of product printing. And so what basically we help small businesses actually look the way all the rest of the businesses look. So we make sure that their branding is on point, their marketing is on point, and that everything is clear and concise so that anybody who looks at it will want to do business with them.
That was perfect. That was the perfect example of an elevator pitch. And I think, and the reason that exercise is so important and why I wanted to pull that out of the exit strategies is because it's something that businesses tend to miss, right? We focus a lot on our mission and our vision because those are important. But when it comes to pitch, we struggle.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's, and maybe you can tell me, I don't know if that's we have a fear of public speaking. It's not that we don't know our business because we do, but there is some sort of block that kind of gets in our way from really talking to other folks about what we do.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is confidence.
Confidence. That's a good word.
And with confidence isn't something, I don't think people are there are some people you can say that are born with confidence.
Oh, yeah.
But I believe that confidence is something that's built up.
Got it.
And so the build up is you understanding what you're doing, what problem you're solving, and how you can help other people. And once you do that, because every business should solve a problem.
Exactly.
First off.
Exactly.
If you're not solving a problem, your business might not last.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because it's a supply and demand. And the demand is normally the problem. So you coming up with the solution, and once you understand what that solution is, then you want to give that to everybody that you meet.
Exactly.
Because you want to help everybody that you meet.
And you want to make money.
Yeah, and money comes with it.
I mean, because if you're not making any coins, we got an issue here.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so now it's time for us to get into this week's writing tips. And so tonight we are talking appropriate semicolon usage, right? This is a problem that I see a lot when I am working with potential authors on their manuscripts and working with them on their book projects. It's because either they do it well or they overdo it. Yeah. And then that causes me to get crazy because I can't stand them. So semicolons, at the end of the day, they separate. They separate two independent clauses that are connected by adverbs or some sort of transitional phrase. So, for example, I have a big test tomorrow, semicolon, I can't go out tonight. If you were to put those two thoughts together, they were equal in position or rank. I can't go out tonight because I got a big test tomorrow, and vice versa. So in that instance, a semicolon is appropriate. However, you can also use a period. Right? Because again, it's two independent clauses. So which means that if the phrases were not connected together, they could stand alone.
Gotcha. Right?
So that's a way to help you kind of identify appropriate semicolon use. Semicolons are also designed to create variety. Oftentimes, another mistake that I see that writers make is run-on sentences. Yes. So there's a lot of commas and semicolons all over the place. And so to kind of help people, and then, maybe next week we'll come and talk about appropriate comma usage versus semicolon usage to kind of expand this thought a little bit more. But again, semicolons separate two independent clauses that are connected by adverbs or transitional phrases. So just make sure if you're working on your manuscript or your manuscript is in editing or you are working with, a writing coach, etc., make sure that they know and understand that. And yourself, if you're in the writing phase, make sure that you are not overusing your semicolons where you could use a period if it makes sense. And just make sure that you're, that every thought or every 7 or 8 words there's a semicolon, because I see that too. I see sentences that kind of go on, they're like 100 words, and they got like 20 semicolons in there where they really need to have periods.
Then breathe.
Exactly. They need to breathe between those sentences and those phrases. But you know what? If writing is not your strong suit, or if it's not your portion, if it's not your forte, then there are mistakes that writers tend to make, which is why hopefully they take advantage of the tips that we share every week.
That's it.
I mean, that's what I think.
I would recommend it, because I know when I wrote this book, I was thinking, I was like, oh man, who can I get to edit this book? And I thought about Miss Ink Pink Diva.
I mean, the name says it all.
Yes.
The name says it all. But, so let's get back into our exit strategy. Exit 3, putting in the address to your destination. So in the workbook, you actually provided samples so that folks could use them as a guide.
Yes.
So you mentioned clear, concise, and compelling, but what other components need to be included in the actual elevator pitch?
Well, they need to know what you do.
Okay.
You need to make sure that they know who you are and what you do.
Right.
So if they walked away mid-sentence, that at least they had that part to kind of follow up with you. And then just like how you were saying, I made sure that you told me a little bit about yourself before I started.
Right.
And that's very, very key, because depending on who you're speaking with, you want to make sure that you're able to repackage your package and to that person. Right. So if, for example, if I'm pitching to let's say, we have these kid entrepreneurs now who are like millionaires. So if I'm pitching to a kid, a 10-year-old girl, I'm going to use her language. I'm not going to use big words. I'm not going to talk over her, but if I'm meeting with a lawyer, then now I will switch it up.
Absolutely. So you need to make it appropriate for the person that you're pitching to, for the audience.
Exactly.
So let me ask you this, because I read this in the book, because I'm a big book nerd. The book is called Start With Why. So how important is it to include your why in your elevator pitch? We talked about the what, because I think the what and the how of what we do is very easy, but the why is where we can kind of get tripped up.
Got you. Well, your why is your everything.
Right.
It's the reason why you're doing what you're doing, and that is your passion. And so your passion for what you do needs to be expressed in that moment, because if you're not passionate, that's a compelling part of it. If you're not passionate about it, they're going to feel that. They go, okay, well, thank you for letting me know. Goodbye.
And they're going to move on to the next person who can grab them with their pitch, because, again, you only have a certain amount of time.
Exactly.
And I remember I was watching a television show recently, and one of the guys said, only you can mess this up. Right? So if this is an opportunity that's presented to you and you got 60 seconds, you're the only person that can destroy this opportunity.
That's it.
Right? So that's important. Awesome. So in the workbook, because we're talking about our workbook here tonight, you gave examples of different business industries, lawyer, financial advisors. But what about the creative or the online entrepreneur who does a lot of business behind a computer, and so they may not be comfortable, talking in front of an audience? How do you suggest they kind of branch off into that? Is there like if I was to come to you and say, can you give me a formula? Can you give me a checklist or some steps? And I can just fill in the blanks.
For online
entrepreneurs.
branders.
So like somebody like me, so I'm a writing coach, so I don't do much of my work is behind a computer. You know what I'm saying? So from there, if I were to go to, let's say, a networking event, where there may or may not be some authors, but people still need to know what I do in case they know someone. So what specific steps or statements or words or phrases do I need to make sure that I include?
Well, I'm going to back up, because one thing about me, whenever I go anywhere that I consider as a networking event, I make sure that I'm intentional about my mission at that event.
That's perfect. I like that. We got to be intentional, right?
Yeah, because you can get lost. I mean, you can go to the bar and just get stuck there.
And it's a networking event. So it's other business owners and entrepreneurs or speakers, etc. So you got to kind of stand out. Yeah,
you got to have a game plan with everything. And you have to have a strategic game plan.
Right.
And I think in that situation, you have to have a strategic game plan to where, okay, when I go into this networking event, even though I might know 2 people there, I'm going to sit at a table where I don't know anybody. That's going to force me to have to speak to somebody I don't know. Because if you go to those 2 people that you do know, you'll sit there and have a conversation with them all day long that you could have had on the phone.
Oh, absolutely.
And you accomplish nothing.
Right.
So you need to first come in with a game plan. After you get that game plan, then you need to say, okay, I want to make sure they understand this, this, and this. And when I talk to a person, I'm making sure they answer these questions, because everybody is not your audience.
Exactly.
You have to know who your target audience is.
Exactly.
And so, because I know who my target audience is, I have a series of questions that I ask people when I first meet them.
Gotcha.
And depending on what they say is how my response is. So the first thing I ask people, I say, okay, how are you? Where are you from? when they tell me where they're from, then I know a little bit more about them.
Yes.
If they're from up north, I know that they talk fast and they then they receive fast.
Right.
So I'm gonna gear it towards that. And
Yeah.
if they're from the south, I know they talk a little bit slower. And they receive some things a little bit slower. So you have to kind of paint a picture.
Yeah.
You know, to
help them kind of get there.
Yes. I mean, and you know, nothing against that,
sure,
but basically
right.
what you're doing, you're just catering to your
Right,
audience.
right. As you should, right?
Yes.
As you should. Even when you're releasing your products or your services or your new program, a course or whatever, you need to tailor it to the folks that you have created the product for.
Exactly.
Right? Because that's how we create that exchange, that supply for the demand that's out there.
Yeah.
And so I like the word intentional, Daryn, because I believe that if more of us were intentional as it pertains to our businesses and whatever it is that we do, that our results would be different. And I believe that you get a, we'll come back after commercial break. We'll pick back up right there.
Sometimes.
Dave, you got to put your hand up before the end of I'm engaged in conversation. I see you with a little finger over here. Hey, Jessica. Hey, Miss Martha. Hey, Sierra. Huh?
Lukewarm. So today,
This little hand, I don't know how I'm supposed to recognize that. Hey,
my
Candy.
name is Quitter. Because I quit
little hand,
having alcoholic depressions in the bottom of bottles, only to temporarily
This is great. So
disappear from
probably
a
in the
situation
last
and
segment, we're
then
going to talk about how folks can connect with you.
my spirit. I quit having every blue moon highs that aren't natural, poisoning blood vessels that feed heart palpitations. Never been diagnosed before, but I feel the disruption in my rhythmic beat.
That's it. Yeah.
But I think that this was very valuable because I know that there are
Wearing masks to appease adoring eyes on me. Because I am absolutely nothing without the Savior's rescue of a three-dimensional silhouette sinking slowly in a sea.
they have to know. They have to not
Only to
necessarily
end
their
with
book, but
no
value
more.
that they're bringing. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
I refuse to continue to pacify this aching in my soul to be a certified soul-winning vessel.
But when they get your
Who has
business card, what
relinquished
do you say to make that?
total
Go
control
back in their pocket and search their business card to find out.
to the source of life,
Because I can't tell you the last time I kept a business.
the giver
Yeah.
of my
I cannot
breath,
tell you the last time I kept
the very
that I didn't
foundation
receive
of
them.
my being.
The last time I
I
actually
am
kept
bleeding
one.
past me because they are in cahoots to seize
It
and
has to be
quiet
compelling. You gotta be
It
like,
does.
I need to connect with this person
Yes.
immediately.
break in and loot.
Sometimes I'll be like, why don't you just take out your phone and let me just
That's
type my
it.
phone.
Call me right now. Let me see. Okay, I got you. That's the right number.
Exactly. Oh my God, that's terrible. But the business card is beautiful,
It is.
and it's needed. It's a part of the overall package. But man, like
Yeah.
I
What
just
you say is everything. Though.
I broke
You're
up
gonna
with
put so much on
fornication long
Exactly.
ago.
Yeah.
and you know some. I think ones that stick out to me are those that are very bold and bright and colorful, and those that are two-sided. I think sometimes people forget about two-sided business cards, and that if I need to be able to turn over,
but as long as I can remember what I've had and don't want anymore,
everybody's
the thing in which I hope
But if
for
yours
and
is
the one that
two-sided,
matters
I'll
the
never
most,
say
I will run,
Yeah,
walk,
that's
and sometimes crawl
Use the
with
thick
my
paper.
hands lifted up.
use
Big
a
paper.
big paper. Yes.
Because I want my
want a
I've
lot
seen
of-
business cards printed
a
on
woman
Microsoft
being
Word
held
80.
and gunpoint.
I mean, you gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah, you do.
Some
But
of it needs to be an investment, but you know, you gotta.
yeah, that's my whole thing. Is that if you're serious about your business,
Oh, yeah.
you need to understand that you are. And so if you give them a piece of paper, they're not. I mean, it's gonna crumble before they put it all the way in their
But
pocket.
not in despair.
So
I'm
don't-
telling you, I've seen it. Then it's been cut with scissors, so it's not all lined up. You still got white space on it. Like, oh man.
Yeah, I've done that. Like you said, you gotta
I
start
mean, you gotta
somewhere.
start somewhere. You got. I mean, and you know, you gotta grow with your business, and as your money comes in, I mean,
Yeah.
you gotta start somewhere. So yeah,
My name
I
is
totally
Ebony
get it.
Dixon,
Those two, your business card or your elevator pitch. You need
and
that.
you need to make sure that they're solid.
That's it.
Hello, clear, concise, and compelling.
Yes.
I love it. And people need to practice it too. That's what I may come back in with, is that they need to practice it until it's perfect.
Yeah.
It needs to be perfect.
In front of
you only
the
get one
mirror.
opportunity.
In front of the mirror if you're by yourself, and family members if you're not.
Oh, yeah.
And let them poke
Yeah.
holes in it. And give you
Right.
correct,
And be open to
constructive
the
criticism.
and be open to the criticism.
Yeah,
Because people,
people don't like that no more. I don't know what's wrong.
I don't know either. Honey.
I want
How
people
in
to
the world
tell
do you
me.
expect to grow?
Yeah, tell me
All
I
right, so
suck.
hold on, we're about to come back. And that was Quitter by the Baby Jumper. So off camera, Daryn, we were talking about constructive criticism and how to practice your elevated pitch. So share with our listeners some of your tips, some of the ways that they can do that.
Basically, if you're single,
yes,
do it in front of the mirror.
Okay.
Do it in front of the
mirror.
mirror.
Hairbrush, I'm just kidding.
I mean, the same way you do when that song come on,
right,
and you're the only one in that bathroom.
Right.
Do it the same way. Wipe the humidity off the mirror and go in.
I love it. I love it.
If you got to find a theme song to go off of, and
whatever you
works.
need to do. Got it.
But practice it. And if you have other people that you trust with your information, do it in front of them and let them poke holes in it. Let them tell you, I like what you said there, but here I would think about maybe the way that sounds. People might think so and so and so and so.
Yeah.
And invite that. Invite that. Ask for feedback so that you can grow, because it's needed for growth.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times we feel like we got it all together, and
we don't.
No, I ain't wake up like this.
You're not Beyonce in this moment.
Nah.
You didn't wake up like this.
Nah.
That is so funny. No, but that's important though, is that we have to practice it because it has to be perfect.
Yes.
And I know we say that perfection doesn't exist, but your pitch needs to be perfect.
Yes.
Because you never know. Your pitch could be standing in the way of you being where you are to where you need to be with the appropriate resources to get you there.
That's it.
So it has to be clear, concise, and compelling.
So you can get that check.
That's the fourth C, is getting the check.
Yes.
All right, perfect. So Daryn, before we end, we have the last couple of minutes of our show. I want to let folks know how they can purchase the book, where they can purchase the book, as well as how they can connect with you. And if you want to share Joy's information as well, please do that also.
Got you. Well, for everybody who already has their phone out, as soon as broadcast ends,
as soon as it's over,
go to Give Them the Business Facebook page. If you go to the Facebook page, we actually have a link there where you can actually follow the link and purchase a book online.
Yeah.
Has a form. You just put your address and stuff, and we'll mail it out to you.
Awesome.
And we'll put some nice gifts in there too.
We all like gifts.
Yes.
The gifts are free.
Free gifts.
Oh my gosh, free $99. That is my favorite price.
Yes. Just for the listeners that go do it today. Let me be clear and concise.
And turn off the hello. But it was very compelling.
Yes.
So that you can get the check.
That's it.
It all works together. I love it.
So go there, like the page. Like I said, there's a link there to purchase the book. And then also episodes. So the neat thing that we didn't have a chance to talk about with the book is that we actually broke the chapter down in episodes. So we actually have a video podcast that we do. And every chapter, we cover a chapter in the podcast.
Wonderful.
So basically, by the time you finish watching the first season, all 12 shows, you have written out your whole business plan in the book.
Wonderful. By following the episodes in the podcast.
Exactly.
So are you guys taking questions during the podcast, or are you just specifically sharing the lessons?
We're sharing the lessons, but we are taking questions. We do respond to the questions.
Okay, great.
Even though it's pre-recorded, we do engage live, so we can have feedback and answer any questions anybody might have.
Oh, great. Okay, so now share with folks how they can connect with you should they need your business services as well.
Awesome. So Visions Made Plain, we also have a page on Facebook, Visions Made Plain, VMP. And you can reach me at 803-250-6185. Again, that's 803-250-6185.
And would you like to also share Joy's information, her Instagram, maybe, if folks want to connect with her?
Sure. Joy has a Touch of Joy International. You can find her there. Also, if you go to the Give Them the Business page and leave a message there, she can respond there as well.
And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in again for another episode of Stop the Silence. Remember, we are thinking of and praying for our other co-host, Ebony Dixon. So let's make sure we're sending up thoughts and well wishes and good, peaceful vibes and healing energies her way. We are looking for sponsorships. So if you're interested in sponsoring an episode, please send your information to thebabyjumper@gmail.com. As well as if you're interested in being a guest on the podcast, we invite you to send your information to thebabyjumper@gmail.com. That is all for this week. Come back next week for another edition of Stop the Silence. Amazing.
Time that perfect.
All right, party people.